Hi everybody, welcome back to part 2 of my beginner-friendly Pilates workout. For today, we are going to start by laying down on our tummies, on our fronts. Slowly make your way down to the mat, placing your hands just underneath your forehead. To begin here, we're going to take an inhale through the nose. As we exhale, we're going to lift that top part of our body off the mat. Really connecting everything with the breath here, just so our upper body is off the mat. Belly button downwards will stay remaining in contact with the mat. That's great. Think about that breath. So inhale to prepare. Exhale like we're blowing out a candle as we're slowly lifting up, engaging those back muscles. Really squeezing those glutes as well. Imagining that we've got a 10-pound note, we don't want to lose it, we're keeping tight hold of it. That's it, just a few more of those. That's great, we keep the hands on our temples so we're not causing any unnecessary strain on our necks. Think about engaging that pelvic floor on the exhale as well. So blowing out through the straw, lifting the pelvic floor up to floor 3 out of 10. This time we're going to slowly twist over to the side on those back raises. So we inhale to prepare. As we exhale, perform the first part of the movement, peeling off the mat, this time twisting over to the left, turning back to center, and down we go. We're going to alternate sides each time we perform this one. If you prefer, you can place your arms down the sides of your body, and you can feel your fingers running down the seam of your leggings. Again, it's just the upper part of the body working. Just nice side bend as we slide on down, keeping everything in line. Our core should still be engaged throughout this exercise, with the feeling of the belt tightening to loop 3 out of 10. That's great. Don't forget about those glutes, still keeping them nice and engaged, and our feet should remain on the mat for this one. Just a few more of these. If you feel too much tension in the lower back area, please stop and stretch it out. That's great. Return those hands to the temples for the next part of the exercise. This time we're going to lift up with one leg at a time, as well as the upper body. We'll be alternating the legs as we go through this part of the exercise. Greater range of motion is now required. This is more an advanced part of the exercise, so if you prefer, you can go back to just the upper body lifting off the mat. If we feel like we're up for the challenge, then please incorporate those leg lifts as well. Keeping the legs nice and lengthened with those toes pointed to elongate the legs. That's great, well done. Stretching on back into a nice shell pose now. Knees together, just resting that forehead onto the mat to feel that stretch out into the lower back after all that hard work we've just done. We can move our fingertips further forwards to deepen that stretch further. We take an inhale in through our nose, and as we exhale out through our mouths, let's bend those fingertips, just move that further forwards to elongate the stretch. That's great. From here, we're going to come onto all fours, making sure our hands are directly beneath our shoulders, knees directly below our hips. We're going to do our opposite leg lifts from before, isolating that movement so it's just the legs moving. That's it, that's great. So we're going to move the left leg this time. Inhale to prepare, exhale as we lift it up into a nice straight line. We'll then swap over and perform with the right leg. keeping everything elongated and those core muscles engaged. There should be a nice flow with this movement as we coordinate as well. You can lift those legs a little bit higher if you feel you have more range of motion. That's great. Nice and slow, not too fast. We want to feel all the muscles in our body moving as one, everything working hard. Making sure the neck is staying in line with the spine as well. That's great. Don't forget about the breathing. So it's inhale through the nose, exhale blowing out the candle. This time we're going to go into arm lifts. So we're going to slowly peel our fingertips off up to our ear before we lower back down to support our body on the mat. This time with the right arm, lifting right the way up to our ear, holding ever so slightly here before placing it back down. Keep those up, keep alternating that movement. That's great, lots of precision here as we operate both the leg and the arms together. So we'll go left arm, right leg, opposition as we're lifting up, holding that position before lowering back down to the mat. Keep going, alternating sides as we create that lovely straight line. That's great. We should feel more work now in our core area as we have to be nice and stable to maintain this position. Keeping everything engaged, lifting your belly button to the back of your spine. Here we're going to perform the Superman. So as we lift our arm up to our ear, we're going to hold our leg there as we extend our arm out in a nice big straight line before returning back to our ear and down again. That's great. Only if we're feeling stable in this position to be able to perform the Superman arm. That's great. Some good balance. Keep it up. Lots of concentration is required in this exercise as well, to ensure that all movements are working together. We're really going to be building on that powerhouse, our core area. Just a couple more. That's great. Really improving our balance throughout this whole exercise. Straight into the Superman this time. No longer going to the ear, just straight out into that Superman. So the left arm reaches forward as the right leg lengthens back, creating that nice big straight line before returning back to the mat. That's great. Keep it up. Keep that mindset. Keep that concentration. Keep that flow throughout. We're going to be so much stronger within ourselves after we've completed this. That's great. Just roll up into that cat stretch there, rounding over the spine. Again, just to stretch out after all that hard work. Return back to neutral. And that's that section completed. From now, rolling back onto our tailbones, sitting up nice and tall, taking a piece of string as we lift ourselves up and our arms as well. Take an inhale through the nose, exhale, rolling back vertebra by vertebra, feeling like our spine is a string of pearls as we move down to the mat. Make sure we're nice and comfortable here, adjust if needed. Feet should be well placed on the floor, feeling all 5 toes. Here we can practice some of our lateral breathing from before, holding onto those ribs as we feel them expand on the inhale and return on the exhale. Just take a moment for ourselves here in this position to really feel connected. Great. lowering those arms down now, just so they are flat on the floor, feeling that stream roll under the bottom of the spine. Take an inhale to prepare. As we exhale, lifting our left leg up to tabletop before placing back down onto the mat. This time with the right leg, lifting up into that 90-degree tabletop angle before peeling back down onto the mat. Exhale, lifting up, really thinking about that breath. That's great. We're working more now into the hip flexors, and of course our core, as is ever, nice and engaged. That's great, well done. Keep that up with those leg raises into tabletop as we prepare to advance the exercise. This time we're going to lift both legs up to tabletop, keeping nice and stable as our left leg peeps through the letterbox and returns back to tabletop. Just extend that right leg, dipping down, just like we're poking our toes through the letterbox. Keep alternating those legs, making sure it's nice and lengthened. There's definitely been that elongation theme throughout this session. That's great. Keep the breath steady. Exhale, peep it through. And we inhale to return before we exhale with the opposite leg. Keeping the balance, that's great. As we feel stronger, we can lift our upper body off the mat and hold it there with our legs continued. That's great. Just really feeling that activation more now that we have the upper body off the mat as well. We really need to fight to keep that balance. As we feel stronger even more, we can bring that leg lower through the letterbox, so lower to the ground and coming back up. Just as low as we can go to feel strong and steady. And hug those knees into the chest. Roll that neck from side to side just to reduce any excess tension. Great. Lower those legs back down now. Lift that upper body all the way up as we're rolling up from the mat. From here, we're going to just come onto our knees. That's great. Make yourself nice and comfortable as we offer our hands out. We are going to imagine we're a waiter for this next one. We've got 2 trays, one on each hand. We need to keep everything nice and steady as now we go into working our upper arms. As ever, our core is engaged, as is our pelvic floor, and be sure to engage that on the exhale breath. That's great. Keep those arms steady. We don't want to drop any of those drinks on the tray. It's nice to be working a different part of the body. Our arms, we want them just as strong as the rest of us. That's great. This time we're going to float one arm up and the second before lowering back down. We should be really resisting against the movement. Once more, opening up both arms before we float one arm to shoulder height, followed by the second arm to shoulder height, before resisting against that movement back into our sides before closing our hands together. That's great. Both arms together this time. Feeling nice and strong within those shoulders as well. Lots of resistance here. Imagine we're in the water and we're really pushing to go through to make those muscles stronger. Once we feel more confident with this, we can add on the next part of the exercise. From shoulder height, we'll lift up to the ceiling, arms parallel together before resisting back down. we'll go up to the ceiling again, but making our way through all the positions, so shoulder height, before we move it to the ceiling, arms parallel, before we resist through the water, back down. We're nearly there, just a few more of these ones, keeping everything engaged, everything working together as one. Our arms should also feel lengthened now after the work in this exercise. Roll those shoulders back just to finish. We're going to come onto all fours, just like so. We're going to thread the needle, so take our left arm, threading underneath our opposite side before returning back. Just a little cool down to finish off with. Threading with the right arm, head rests onto the mat, hold it there for a second,